Hey everybody, Shane from Norman S. Wright. Since we're in wildfire season, I thought it'd be a good time to talk about ASHRAE Guideline 44 on protecting building occupants from smoke. So let's get started. ASHRAE Guideline 44, Protecting Building Occupants from Smoke During Wildfire and Prescribed Burn Events, was released at the end of last year. It discusses best practices for building design, operation, and maintenance to reduce health risks associated with wildfire and prescribed burn smoke exposure. Let's move this up and talk about it. Wildfire seasons are becoming longer and becoming year-round in some areas. It's expected that we'll see increased frequency and intensity of wildfires and the increased use of prescribed burns to reduce wildfire risk, so we have to consider and address the smoke pollution concerns. Smoke is composed of gases and particles. Let's move this up. From a health perspective, the most important gases are oxides of nitrogen, NOx, volatile organic compounds, VOCs, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, and secondary ground ozone, O3, which is formed when NOx and VOCs interact with UV radiation from the sun. The particulate matter, or PM, in smoke ranges in size from less than 0.1 micron in diameter, or PM 0.1, to greater than 10 micron in diameter, PM 10. But it's often characterized by particles less than 2.5 micron, or PM 2.5, the fine particulate matter. Move this up a little bit. Most wildland fire smoke particles are less than 1 micron in diameter. And it's not just carbon and heavy metals. It often has more complex human-made materials such as plastic, steel, and glass as well. But wildfire smoke's largest impacts are on PM 2.5. Let's move this over. Under typical air quality conditions, the 24-hour average mass concentration of PM 2.5 is less than 25 micrograms per cubic meter of air in urban environments and less than 10 micrograms per cubic meter of air in other locations. In comparison, days affected by wildfire smoke can have concentrations up to 5 times higher, and days that are affected by extreme wildfire smoke can have concentrations that are 50 times higher. There is no EPA mandate of what indoor PM 2.5 concentration should be. ASHRAE 44 states that the indoor PM 2.5 should be as low as reasonably achievable, referred to as ALERA. So let's move this up and look at what the guidelines say you can do to reduce the amount of PM 2.5 particles in a building. First up, you need to monitor the PM 2.5 particles in the building. You'll want to get a baseline for the PM 2.5 particles when there's no wildfire event happening. Sensors should be placed in key locations in the building, such as areas with the highest occupancy or near at-risk populations like the elderly, areas of high physical activities, and any area used as a clean air room. And they should also be placed outside to see what the concentration levels are near the building. Let's move this over. The guidelines also say that you should use differential pressure sensors to measure the pressure difference between the inside and outdoor air to evaluate building pressurization. Next are the building control systems. Ideally, you want a BAS system with specific smoke limiting logic for wildfire events so that it automatically reduces ventilation rates during wildfires. You want your building control system to reduce outdoor airflow and increase indoor filtration. Let's move it over. Building pressure is another important factor. The guideline recommends that ventilation systems be designed for net exfiltration. It recommends to operate the building at 0.02 to 0.07 inches of water relative to the exterior of the building, or to balance the outdoor airflow to 10% greater than the exhaust airflow. Entrances and exits are the most vulnerable to infiltration of smoke. The guidelines recommend vestibules because they allow for an extra barrier between the outside and the inside, make a little bit of room. And it also recommends dedicated entryways like lobbies and reception areas because these are a physical separation from the main occupied areas of the building, and they're designed for higher air exchange rates. Move this up again. Next is filtration. The guideline recommends the minimum filter efficiency for removing particulates generated by a wildfire event is MERV 13. And a low-pressure HEPA filter is recommended for buildings with at-risk populations or if the building experienced frequent wildfire smoke events. There's obviously a lot more detail in ASHRAE 44 relative to these building design parameters for wildfire smoke. Let's bring all this back on. Next week, I want to talk about what the guidelines say about operation during wildfire events and the filtration technologies that it discusses. But for now, that's an overview of ASHRAE 44 design guidelines. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, put them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.